11 rock bands, 11 songs that changed everything. You know how the story's supposed to go. You write the perfect song, it goes to number 1, the whole world knows your name, and everybody lives happily ever after. But here's what that story leaves out. Sometimes the song that makes you legends is the exact same song that breaks you apart. The pressure it creates, the identity it rewrites, the argument it starts in the studio that never actually ends. Today we're talking about the bands that paid the highest price for the song that made them famous. And we're starting with the most complicated one of all. Number 11, Black Sabbath Paranoid Iron Man, 1970. Four kids from Birmingham, England. A heavy guitar tone that sounded like nothing that had come before it. And a singer who could barely read music, but had one of the most distinctive voices in the history of rock. That's Black Sabbath in 1970. And if you've ever heard that opening riff to Iron Man, that slow mechanical grind before Ozzy comes in, you know exactly what I mean when I say Tony Iommi invented something that day. Heavy metal didn't exist before that riff. After it, nothing sounded the same. The Paranoid album went to number 1 in the UK. Iron Man became one of the most recognizable songs ever recorded. And the 4 original members, Ozzy, Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, should have ridden that wave for another 20 years. But Ozzy was never easy to manage, and as the band got bigger, his drinking and drug use got worse. The tension wasn't musical. The music was still working. The tension was personal. It was the kind of slow-burning friction that builds when someone keeps missing rehearsals, keeps showing up unprepared, keeps making everyone around them carry the extra weight. In 1979, they fired him, not quietly, not with a long goodbye, just gone. After 9 years of building one of the most powerful catalogs in rock history together, it ended the way those things often end. One meeting, one decision, no going back. And here's the bitter irony. Ozzy immediately forms a solo band, found Randy Rhoads, and had the biggest run of his career. Black Sabbath brought in Ronnie James Dio and had the biggest run of their post-Ozzy career. 2 people needed the separation to find out what they were actually capable of. But every time someone plays Iron Man or Paranoid, which is every day, somewhere on this planet, those 4 original names are what come up. What they built together still defines both of their legacies. That's not nothing. That's actually everything. The thing they broke apart already turned out to be indestructible. Number 10, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Freebird, 1973.
I must be traveling on now.
If you've ever been to a rock concert, any rock concert, you've probably heard someone in the crowd shout Freebird. It doesn't even matter which band is playing. It's become the universal heckle of classic rock, and I get it. But every time someone treats it like a joke, I think about what that song actually cost the people who made it. Freebird was written by Ronnie Van Zant and Alan Collins in Jacksonville, Florida in 1970. By the time Lynyrd Skynyrd released it in 1973, it was already a live legend. A song that built and built until the guitar solo at the end just took the roof off of wherever they were playing. If you were in the crowd for one of those late 70s shows when Gary Rossington and Alan Collins and Steve Gaines were trading solos, you know what I'm talking about. That was the sound of something transcendent. By 1977, they were at the absolute peak of their powers. Street Survivors just came out. The tour was selling out everywhere. And then on October 20th, their chartered plane ran out of fuel over Mississippi. The crash killed Ronnie Van Zant, Steve Gaines, his sister Cassie, 6 people total. And here's a detail I didn't know until I started digging. Aerosmith had been offered that same for their tour earlier that year. Their people looked at the aircraft, said it wasn't safe, and passed on it. Leonard Skinner got it instead. One decision, different outcomes, and the entire trajectory of Southern rock changed forever. The band went silent for 10 years. When they finally came back, it was with Ronnie's younger brother Johnny on vocals. A man who told them honestly, I never wanted to be in this band. He was trying to protect his brother's legacy, not chase his own fame. Free Bird ended up on the set list every night. Because what else do you do when the song is larger than anyone who ever played it? You honor it, even when it hurts. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2006, a full 29 years after the crash. Some recognitions come way too late to feel like celebration.
Well, things just couldn't be the same.
Number 9, REM, Losing My Religion, 1991. Here's one that might surprise you. REM didn't write Losing My Religion as a hit. They basically didn't know how to write a hit. That was part of their whole thing. Peter Buck plays a mandolin riff at the opening of that song. A mandolin. Mike Mills, their bassist, heard the finished track and said it was like a bumblebee. He said it shouldn't be able to fly. They all agreed it would never be a single. It went to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 and won 2 Grammys. And if you grew up in the early 90s, you know exactly where you first heard that song. You remember the video, the angel imagery, Michael Stipe in that loose shirt, the way the whole thing felt like a fever dream you couldn't shake. There was nothing else on MTV that looked or sounded like it, but the song's success didn't break them. What came next did. In 1995, drummer Bill Berry was on stage in Lausanne, Switzerland, when he collapsed mid-show. A ruptured brain aneurysm. The band kept touring after he recovered, because that's what you do. That's what the machine demands. It's bigger. But Berry had crossed the threshold. The near-death experience changed what he wanted. Not more tours, not more albums, just a simpler life. A farm in Georgia. In 1997, he quit. Not bitterly, not over money or creative differences. He quit because a man had almost died on stage, and the world kept asking him to go back out there and do it again. REM carried on without him for 14 more years before disbanding in 2011. But every person who knew the 4-piece version of that band will tell you it was never quite the same. The chemistry that made Losing My Religion possible lived specifically in that lineup. Berry later said he regretted it. Not at the time. At the time he knew it was right, but later. Sometimes surviving the worst moment of your life doesn't give you the answer. It just changes the question.
Let's look at the numbers. Only 9% of you are actually subscribed. Honestly, that's tough to see. Our team spends days hunting down archives and verifying every single fact just to tell these stories right. If you've made it this far into the video, you're clearly part of the community, so please hit subscribe. It costs nothing and helps us immensely. Now, for those already subscribed, very few of you have made the jump to our membership, and that's a hard pill to swallow because you're the ones who know our value best. If this channel has moved you or inspired you, consider joining. It's the price of one coffee, but it's the literal fuel for this channel. Let's keep this alive together. Back to the story.
Number 8, The Police, Every Breath You Take, 1983. The song almost didn't exist. Sting and Stuart Copeland were in the studio recording the track that would become Every Breath You Take. The biggest single of 1983, the most played song in radio history as of 2019, and they almost came to blows. Literally, the producer nearly walked out. The band's manager had to fly in and hold an emergency meeting just to keep them in the same room. Copeland rearranged his drum kit so that the cymbals would physically block his view of Sting. That wasn't a metaphor. He actually moved the hardware so he wouldn't have to look at him. The song exists because Andy Summers, the guitarist who barely gets mentioned in this story, walked into the argument, sat down, and played an arpeggio riff in one take. Everyone went quiet. That riff was the song. Without it, the track was going nowhere. With it, it went straight to number 1 in America and spent 8 weeks there. And here's the part that's still playing out. As of 2025, Summers and Copeland have sued Sting in the London High Court, claiming they were never properly credited or compensated for writing Every Breath You Take. 42 years after the song came out, the argument that almost stopped them from finishing it is now in a courtroom. You know what the song is actually about? Obsession, surveillance, someone watching someone who's trying to leave. People have played it at weddings for 50 years thinking it's romantic. Sting has said in interviews he finds that deeply unsettling. The most misunderstood love song in rock history. Written by 3 people who couldn't stand each other. Still generating lawsuits decades after the fact. And somehow still perfect.
I'll be watching you.
Number 7, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, 1971. Robert Plant said he truly loathed it. Not privately, publicly, in multiple interviews across decades. He once donated $10,000 to a radio station in Portland, specifically because they promised never to play Stairway to Heaven again.
And the forests will echo his laugh.
When Jimmy Page and Plant toured together in 1994, the song wasn't on the set list. When the Atlantic Records 40th anniversary show happened in 1988,
Day will dawn for those who stand long.
Plant called Page the night before and said, "I'm not playing it." Page's response, "What are you talking about?" That's the one everybody expects. That was the problem. Plant wrote most of those lyrics sitting by a fire in a Welsh cottage while Page played the chords. He later said his hand was moving almost involuntarily, words coming out before he thought them. He started writing and almost leapt out of his seat. Something was happening. And then the song became the most requested song in FM radio history. Banned from guitar shops because every single person who picked up an acoustic immediately started playing that intro riff. You know the one. The one you've heard 1,000 times without even trying. But Plant, as a solo artist, as a restless and curious musician, kept moving. Blues, Arabic music, Celtic folk, Alison Krauss, and American roots. He kept evolving. And Stairway to Heaven was this fixed point in everyone else's mind. The thing they needed him to be. The thing he was supposed to keep delivering.
Good news, people. If there's a bustle in your
If you absolutely hated Stairway to Heaven, he told Q magazine, nobody can blame you for that. Because it was so pompous. He's talking about his own song, the most celebrated rock song of all time. Ranked on every list ever made. The song that defined a generation. And the man who wrote the words would rather be known for almost anything else he's done. That's a specific kind of prison that doesn't come with bars. It comes with a lighter in the air at 60,000 decibels. Number 6, Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, 1991. Kurt Cobain told people he was trying to rip off the Pixies. Not the riff specifically dynamic, soft and quiet, then loud and hard. He showed Chris Novoselic the guitar part, and Chris looked at him and said, "That is so ridiculous." Cobain made them play it for an hour and a half. He was going for the most obvious pop hook he could build. He wanted, in his own words, to write the ultimate pop song. He succeeded. He probably didn't want to know how badly he succeeded. By 1993, Cobain was intentionally butchering Smells Like Teen Spirit on stage, playing the riff wrong, changing the tempo, sometimes just refusing to play it at all. In the last concert he ever played, 5 weeks before he died, they performed 23 songs. Smells Like Teen Spirit was not one of them. Here's what gets me about that. The song's opening line, "Here we are now, entertain us," started as something Cobain would say when he walked into a party to break the ice. A throwaway. An in-joke about how awkward it is to show up somewhere and not know anyone. It wasn't a manifesto. It wasn't a generation-defining statement. It became both. And there's a real sadness in the gap between what Cobain thought he was making and what the world needed it to be. He thought Drain You was just as good. He thought there were a dozen songs in their catalog that deserved the same attention. But the machine had already decided. Teen Spirit was the song. Everything else was the footnote. Dave Grohl put it this way. Kurt probably wanted to sell 20 million records and be the biggest band in the world. But I'm sure he didn't want all the baggage that came along with it. Wanting the success. Not wanting what success requires of you. That's not just Kurt Cobain. That's a very human thing to carry. Number 5, Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb, 1979. David Gilmour has said that Comfortably Numb was the last time he and Roger Waters were able to work together constructively. The last ember of their collaboration. And then it went out. The song started as a demo Gilmour had made for his solo album, a chord sequence looking for a home. Waters took it, wrote the lyrics and verses, brought it back. The process should have been straightforward. It wasn't. They argued about the production, about the arrangement, about whether the track needed an orchestra. Waters wanted it orchestral. Gilmour wanted it stripped down. Producer Bob Ezrin fought his way through the middle. The compromise they landed on, both versions stitched together, was the best thing either of them could have imagined. That solo, the one that builds at the end of the song and just keeps building. Gilmour has said it's one of the best things he's ever recorded, and Waters later told a magazine, "That's all we could do without somebody winning and somebody losing." And of course, who lost, if you like, was the band, because it was clear at that point that we didn't feel the same way about music. Waters left Pink Floyd in 1985. He described them as a spent force. Gilmour and the others continued under the name. There were lawsuits. Years of lawyers communicating where bandmates used to. The greatest creative partnership in progressive rock, and it ended in courtrooms and interviews where they traded veiled insults instead of chord sequences. The song is about a doctor numbing a performer who's too sick to go on stage. Waters said the idea came from a real show in 1977 when he was injected with muscle relaxants before a performance and couldn't feel his hands. A song about being too numb to feel what's happening to you. Written by two people who were doing exactly that to each other. Comfortably Numb remains the last song Pink Floyd's original lineup ever performed together. They played it Live 8 in 2005, the one night they agreed to set everything aside. Then the lawyers came back. Number 4, Guns N' Roses, November Rain, 1991. Axl Rose had been carrying this song since the mid-1980s. Piano sketches, demo tapes, the seed of something he couldn't quite finish. A meditation on love and loss, and the specific kind of loneliness that comes from holding something together that keeps wanting to fall apart. He was obsessed with it. Obsessed with merging hard rock with something orchestral. Something Elton John might recognize, something with actual weight. By the time Guns N' Roses finally recorded it for Use Your Illusion Eye, they threw everything at it. A 90-piece orchestra, a 9-minute runtime. A video that became the most expensive music video ever made at the time. And here's the thing about that recording process. The classic lineup, Axl / Duff McKagan, Izzy Stradlin, Steven Adler, was already disintegrating. Adler had been fired before they finished the album. Izzy would quit mid-tour. Slash later wrote about sitting in the studio, watching Axl spend hours getting one keyboard sound right. Like a kid in a candy store, he said, but by that point the candy store was the problem. The band Axl was trying to build, the one worthy of November Rain, wasn't the band he'd started with. By 1996, Slash and Duff were gone. Axl kept the name, kept the legacy. Spent the next 14 years making Chinese Democracy. The song that required every version of Guns N' Roses to finish it was made by a band that couldn't survive finishing it. Elton John once called November Rain one of the greatest songs ever written. Some of y'all heard that song for the first time in a very specific place. Maybe in a car, maybe through headphones, maybe at a wedding. You know the one. And if you've ever tried to explain to someone who wasn't there why Guns N' Roses mattered, not just the riffs, but why it mattered, you probably pointed to that song. Number 3, The Eagles, Hotel California, 1976. Hotel California didn't just make the Eagles the biggest band in America, it made them permanent, inescapable.
She got the Mercedes-Benz. She got
The album that sealed their reputation, and as Glenn Frey said years later, sealed their fate. Frey called it the zenith of the Eagles.
voices are calling from far away.
The moment where everything they knew how to do came together. Don Felder wrote the opening guitar riff, driving to a rehearsal. Don Henley and Frey wrote the lyrics.
Up ahead in the distance, I saw a shimmering.
Joe Walsh and Felder worked out that twin guitar coda. The closing solo that Felder once says was like a conversation between two people, and it became one of the most dissected pieces of music in rock history.
Welcome to the Hotel California.
32 million copies of that album worldwide, the most played song on American radio for years. And in the immediate aftermath of its release, the band began to fall apart under its own weight.
Say, welcome to the Hotel California.
Meissner left after the tour. Felder and Walsh started pushing back on Frey's control. The next album, The Long Run, took over a year and a half to record. Cocaine, burnout, egos already too big for the room.
But you can never leave.
By 1980, Frey and Felder were threatening each other on stage at a fundraising concert. The other members thought it was going to go physical.
Down the corridor, I thought I heard them say.
And that was it. The band that had just made one of the defining albums of the 70s was done. The documentary they made about their reunion 20 plus years later was called Hell Freezes Over.
So I called him the captain. Please bring me my way.
Because when Henley was asked in 1980 when the Eagles would get back together, that's exactly what he said. When hell freezes over.
He said, we're all just prisoners here.
They got back together anyway, because the music was too big to stay dead forever. But they carried that breakup forward. The bitterness, the lawsuits.
I hit the heavy and my sight grew dim.
The things said in interviews that can't be unsaid. Felder eventually wrote a book. Frey and Henley responded publicly. People who made something genuinely immortal, spending decades unable to be in the same room. Number 2, Fleetwood Mac, Go Your Own Way, 77. Here's the setup. It's 1976. Fleetwood Mac is making Rumours, and inside that band, everyone is breaking up with someone else. Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks have just ended their relationship. A relationship that started before the band, before the music, before any of it. John and Christine McVie, the married couple in the band, are in the middle of a divorce. Mick Fleetwood is separated from his wife. Stevie had a brief fling with Mick. And these 5 people went into the studio every single day and turned all of it into songs. Dreams is Nicks writing about Buckingham. Go Your Own Way is Buckingham writing about Nicks. They recorded both songs. They played them both back in the same session. And they had to stand next to each other while doing it. Stevie told Buckingham to take a line out of Go Your Own Way, a lyric she said wasn't true about her. He refused. She had to sing backing vocals on the song anyway, every night on tour, every night for years. And Buckingham wrote it as the beginning of a conversation, he said, a way to process the end of things. Instead, it became one of the best-selling records in history. Permanently associated with the most public and prolonged romantic implosion in rock music. The album spent 31 weeks at number 1. The emotional wreckage those songs were built from, the specific raw material of 5 people coming apart, turned out to be exactly what the whole world needed to hear. Nix put it like this: "We were rich, we were young, we were falling out of love with each other. As bad as it was still great." That line does something to me every time I hear it, because she's right. It was both things simultaneously, falling apart and creating something permanent. The two things happening at the same exact moment, impossible to untangle. Some of y'all know that feeling and you're nodding right now. And if you do, yeah, that's the song. Number 1, the Doobie Brothers' What a Fool Believes, 1978. Michael McDonald almost never finished the song. He had a piano riff, a few lines of a first verse. He'd played it for producer Ted Templeman a handful of times over the years, and Templeman kept saying, "That's a hit. Finish it." McDonald kept saying, "One of these days." His sister heard it and told him it sounded like circus music. To forget it. He didn't forget it. He called Kenny Loggins. And the two of them wrote What a Fool Believes together, and it became, after an absurd amount of chaos in the studio, the number 1 single in America in April of 1979. Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Grammy for Best Pop Vocal Performance. The song the Doobie Brothers are still most associated with 4+ decades later. But here's the thing you have to understand first. McDonald wasn't supposed to be in this band. The original Doobie Brothers were a guitar-driven boogie rock outfit out of San Jose. Listen to the music: long train running, black water, gritty, loose, loud. In 1975, founding vocalist and guitarist Tom Johnston collapsed on tour with a bleeding stomach ulcer so severe he spent a year hospitalized. They needed a temporary replacement. They brought in McDonald, who'd been touring with Steely Dan as a fill-in. He never left. And when he stayed, the band slowly stopped sounding like the band they had been. Johnston eventually came back, looked at what had happened to the band's sound, and felt increasingly alienated. His leaning towards straight rock and McDonald's leaning towards soul and jazz were pulling in opposite directions. Sessions for the 1977 album started with Johnston's contributions. They ended without him in the band. And then What a Fool Believes happened. Loggins actually recorded it first for his Night Watch album in 1978. It wasn't even a single. When the Doobies cut their version, the producer was still uncertain. He literally suggested discarding the song to the Warner Bros. Executives. They told him he was crazy. The studio story is something else. They tried dozens of takes, couldn't get the rhythm right. The producer finally, to the band's genuine horror, cut apart the master tape itself, physically spliced it together. Then McDonald built the keyboard arrangement, the strings, the whole architecture. The resulting song was, in the producer's own words, stylistically unlike anything the Doobie Brothers had done before. That's both the triumph and the problem, because the original fans, the people who've been showing up for that loose Southern California rock sound since 1971, didn't all follow McDonald where he was going. And the original members were watching a band built from their sweat get quietly, completely redefined. By the early 1980s, the exhaustion had set in. Guitarist Patrick Simmons, the one constant member throughout all the lineup changes, decided to retire. When McDonald found out, his reaction wasn't complicated. He said, "I don't think I would have ever quit the band except when Pat quit. It just didn't seem like the Doobies anymore. That original creative core of the band was gone. They did a farewell tour in 1982. The final concert brought back Johnston and other original members for a last goodbye. McDonald played his part, and then it was over. Here's where the story gets complicated and honest. McDonald has said his biggest fear throughout his time in the band was that he wasn't giving them what they needed. Not arrogance, not ego fear. My basic fear was that I didn't have what it took to do what people expected I could do for the band. Think about that for a second. The man wrote the song that won them Grammys, got them a #1, and became their most enduring legacy. And he was afraid the whole time that he was failing them. What a fool believes is, on some level, about someone who refuses to see what's actually in front of them. A man holding on to something that isn't there, chasing a version of reality that the other person has already left behind. I'm not saying that's the Doobie Brothers, but I am saying that sometimes art knows things the artist doesn't know yet. The band reformed in 1987 without McDonald. Johnston came back, they toured, they kept going. McDonald came back in 2019 full-time, and now they play together again, all these years later. The original Doobie Brothers sound and the McDonald era, somehow coexisting in the same set list. They were finally inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2020. It took until 2020. For a band that gave us Listen to the Music and Long Train Running and What a Fool Believes. For a band that changed their sound completely and still managed to make something that lasts forever. It took until 2020. I've thought about that a lot. What takes so long? Who gets to decide when something matters enough to be remembered officially? And I think I'll let you decide what you make of that.